In our last episode, we successfully prevented the assassination of NCR President Kimball. We then activated and took control of a power source being guarded by the NCR. This gives House all the power he needs to keep Vegas lit while the Legion attacks Hoover Dam. He then sent us to Hoover Dam under the guise of helping the NCR defeat the Legion, but with the true purpose of installing an override chip into the Hoover Dam mainframe so that House can take it over. House sent along a Securitron as a temporary companion to help us out and remind us of our mission.
You must get to the control room and install an override chip.
When we arrive at Hoover Dam, we see the vertibird landing pad on top of the visitor center on fire, pouring smoke into the sky. As we get closer, we get attacked by great cons. We only find them here if we failed to ally them with the NCR earlier in the game. House told us that we could find the mainframe by entering one of the towers in the middle of the dam, but we see the top of the dam swarming with Caesar's Legion. How did they push their way this far west already? We now have to fight our way across the dam.
You like that?
With the Legionaries dead, we can enter Tower Number 1. This is not the one we need to enter to access the mainframe. However, we can use it to climb the steps to the second floor and take the ladder to the top of the tower. This makes an excellent sniper's perch from which to take out the Legionaries on the road below.
Like that?
When done, we can climb down and continue east along the road, whereupon we see, what's this? The Boomers arrive in their bomber, which we retrieved from the bottom of Lake Mead. What a sight! The Boomers dropped their bombs right on top of the dam. You'd think that might damage the dam in some way, but apparently not. Continuing east, we have to clear a few more Legionaries. And then we get attacked from behind by more. Once they're dead, we can enter Tower Number 2. Here we find an elevator leading to the Hoover Dam offices. We arrive in an L-shaped utility room, which we can exit using the door to the south. Turning left down the hallway, we continue along until we see prime legionary corpses lying on the ground. How did the Legion get this deep into the dam? These legionaries were likely killed by the power armor-wearing NCR heavy troopers guarding this door.
You shouldn't be here. It's best if you just move along.
It's okay. I'm a friend.
Friend or not, no one is allowed in here. Move along.
It's important that I get in there.
It's probably more important than you get out of here alive. You haven't noticed there's a battle going on here. Now get out of here.
We can always attack by saying, "Enough talk."
You'll regret this. Come on!
But this ruins our NCR reputation, which we may need later. So instead, we can pass a 75 speech check to lie and say, "Colonel Moore's in trouble. She needs help, now."
Damn it all to hell. Let's go.
With that, the guards run off, giving us complete access to the control room. We see terminals littering the control room, but what we're looking for is the bank of monitors against the northern wall. This control box is connected to the main computer banks at Hoover Dam. We can leave it alone or install the override chip.
I knew you'd make it. Resourceful as always. The override module is functioning properly. I'm rerouting power to the Securitron vault at the fort as we speak. I just need you to head over to the East Power Plant and manually activate the switch. When you return topside, I think you'll see that my Securitron army is a little more than the Legion was prepared to handle. Oh, and before you go, grab that printout spooling from the console here. Those papers set the terms for the NCR's unconditional surrender. I thought you might enjoy the honor of presenting them to the NCR's commanding officer once the Legion has been defeated. Cheers.
Cheers! Looks like House is feeling pretty good. He prints off an order of withdrawal. To General Oliver, or highest-ranking survivor, to the NCR President, and to the NCR Council, from Robert Edwin House. As Chief Executive of the Free Economic Zone of New Vegas, I hereby demand the immediate withdrawal of all NCR military personnel from New Vegas and its surrounding territories. Yes, all military personnel includes NCR Rangers. New Vegas and its surrounding territories includes but is not limited to Hoover Dam, McCarran International Airport, Helios 1, and the El Dorado substation. It is important to note that my vast army of heavily armed Securitrons has been rather inflexibly programmed to respond to acts of aggression with overwhelming force. For examples of heavily armed and overwhelming force, I will refer you to the pitiless campaign of extermination my Securitrons will have visited upon Caesar's Legion by the time you're reading this document. Any NCR military personnel who do not withdraw from New Vegas and its territories will be seen as committing an act of aggression. NCR civilians, however, are not subject to this order of withdrawal. They may visit New Vegas freely, enjoying all that the Vegas Strip has to offer. So long as NCR military personnel comply with this order to withdraw, electricity and water will continue to flow from Hoover Dam to the NCR. Electricity is 5 caps per kilowatt hour. Water is 5 caps per gallon. The NCR Council's Office of Budget will receive invoices bi-weekly. Prices are subject to change without notice. Cordially, Robert Edwin House, Chief Executive, Free Economic Zone of New Vegas. Ho, 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 ho. He is nickel and diming them. I'd hate to think how this will cause the NCR to raise taxes on its people. But we need to head deeper to find that switch. We see House quickly taking over the dam as his face jumps from monitor to monitor. And as we continue forward, we run right into a legionary. How did the Legion get so deep into the dam? Perhaps we'll learn exactly what happened when we do this quest from either the NCR or the Legion's perspective. At last, we open a door to the south to arrive at a balcony overlooking the dam's primary turbines. We find the switch on a wall to the right. This switch controls the power to the east side of the power plant. We can either leave it alone or turn on the switch. And with that, we grant House complete control over Hoover Dam, and he maximizes the dam's power output by magnitudes. We now need to climb out of the dam to watch House's Securitron army leave the Securitron vault at Fortification Hill and wreak havoc upon the Legion. When we arrive topside, it's night, and sure enough, we see Caesar's fort in flames. The Securitrons must be tearing the Legion to pieces. We can walk southeast to head that way. We see more legionaries, but as they attack, more Securitrons appear behind us and lob missiles at them. The Securitrons continue to help us as we fight our way southeast. At last, we reach the other side of the Colorado, and taking the road east, we reach the gate to the Legate's camp. On the other side, we see the camp lying to the southeast. From here, we can snipe off the guards. But heading inside, we don't really see anybody. Perhaps the legionaries here abandoned the camp to return to the fort to try and defend Caesar there. We see a few containers in a workshop, a bunch of sword sharpening wheels lying about, but no people. There's a small Brahmin pen to the west. But as we carelessly cross a road northeast, we get attacked from behind. Looks like we passed a sniper from a nearby watchtower. Continuing forward, we see a path to the east, and then another path to the north. Going north, we find the Legion's tents, and at the end of this camp are 2 legionaries.
Retribution! Had enough?
The legionaries were cooking some Brahmin over a fire. Looks like they were in the middle of dinner when we interrupted them. But this is a dead end, so turning around, we can instead take the path to the east. This brings us to a stair that climbs a hill. As we climb, we see a lone, masked figure standing on the hillside, staring at us. This must be none other than Legate Lanius, the terror of the East, the very man Ulysses warned us about when we met him in the Divide, and the very man who replaced Joshua Graham as leader of Caesar's army.
An envoy of Vegas, yet you carry yourself for battle. If so, you cannot truly be of that city of cowards.
If you think you've got any chance of taking Hoover Dam, you're wrong.
Many graves in the East are filled with those who said as much, with braver words, not backed by strength. It is Caesar's will this gate to the west bear the flag of the Legion. Caesar's will shall be done.
What, Caesar wasn't brave enough to come take the dam himself?
Caesar's will is made truth through me. I am a hammer against all that defy his rule. If you seek to stand against me, you shall fall as the West falls.
At this point, we find 2 options to turn him hostile. We can say, "Nice mask. Can't wait to take it as a trophy."
We shall see how brave you are when nailed to the walls of Hoover Dam, your body facing west so you may watch your world die.
Or we can say, "I'm here to kill you. The Legion's advance ends here."
Enough words, then. Let our strength settle this.
With that, Legate Lanius and his Praetorian Guard attack.
Retribution. If we kill Lanius with a revolver or a rifle, we complete 1 step in a 10-part challenge called Against All Tyrants. I'll have to keep this challenge in mind for when I explore the NCR ending. I may have to raze Caesar's camp to the ground to complete it. On his body, we find 2 unique items. The first is the Legate helmet. This unique helmet has a DT of 4, is considered light armor, and weighs 2 pounds. It's otherwise unremarkable except for the way it looks. It's a beautiful face mask designed to intimidate and inspire. Indeed, it is this very mask that the marked men of the Divide were imitating or mocking when they crafted their own masks. The other unique item is the Blade of the East. This is one of the most powerful bumper swords in the entire game. It has the highest damage of any bumper sword in the game, with a damage per attack of 65. It also comes with a poison effect, dealing 2 damage every second, over 10 seconds. This is one of 2 weapons in the game with such a poison effect, the other being Salt Upon Wound's Power Fist. But it's a bit slower than the Blade of the West from Lonesome Road. This brings its damage per second down to 104.6, compared to 127.9 from the Blade of the West. However, the poison effect partially makes up for this. It looks like a bumper sword, except for the fact that Lanius has removed the license plate from his sword. So that is one way to resolve this issue. The other is to try to reason with Legate Lanius. Instead of fighting him, we can say, maybe you're willing to listen to reason.
I see you fight with words, like all beneath the flag of the bear. Let us hope your skill with weapons proves greater.
Here we find 3 ways to talk him down. The first is to bluff our way through it. The crux of this dialogue path is to convince Legate Lanius that the NCR is more prepared than they really are, and to give him the idea that he may have traitors within his own ranks. To start, we pass a 60 speech check to say, persist and learn what Graham learned at the dam and Boulder City.
You dare speak that name? Comparing him to any man of Kaiser will only earn you a slow death. You think me some lesser man, some other legate? I am the first of the Legion, and this gate to the west shall be ours this day.
The NCR has studied you as they did Graham, and their trap is ready for you.
You believe your own words, even if I do not. Perhaps NCR has the strength of a cornered animal. It will not be enough to hold this place. They know nothing of my tactics, or the strength of my forces. They will learn.
The position of your veterans, using the dam's intake towers, all as expected.
We did take the towers easier than expected. I cannot believe even the Republic would overlook such an opening in their defenses. Yet we are at the throat of the Great Bear. Victory is at hand.
Legate Lanius responds the exact same way to all 3 of these bluff options, so we'll say, Graham did not smell the C4 until after he entered Boulder City. He only smelled victory.
You play on my instincts. Yet your intention in this, you have nothing to gain by telling me of this trap, unless you seek to goad me into a retreat, leaving the battlefield and leaving my honor here to be trampled underfoot by Republic cowards.
He then responds the same way to these 3 options as well. So we'll say, there are those among the Legion who would see you fall as Graham did.
Of course, and I guard myself from such acts of cowardice and jealousy. You claim that word of my coming has been given to the West so that I might die here. Even as I take the dam, telling me this does not benefit you at all. You gamble with your words, and your coin is lacking.
However, here, we push our luck if we choose the first option, and Lanius calls our bluff. We could say, if you return east and exact vengeance, it buys the West time, and thins the Legion's ranks.
If what you say is true, then they shall answer for it. But you suggest I turn from battle to answer these crimes, when I can prove myself greater by meeting them than returning with the dam as ours. You almost convinced me otherwise. But justice comes to all in time, and it now comes to you.
We're now locked into a dialogue tree where we have to fight him. We can, however, fight him one-on-one by passing either of these 280 speech checks. We can pass a combination speech and karma check to say, any man can claim bravery when he outnumbers his opponent.
I have seen little of true battle this day, and you were brave to come here to face me when all of NCR would not. I shall honor your last words and face you alone. No man will say I refused your challenge.
Or we can bluff by saying, if you're such a terror of the East, call off your dogs and face me one-on-one.
I shall make a cape of your skin, and your skull, it shall sit by my side, mute, watching as my armies march west. I shall honor your last words, and face you alone as you request. No man will say I refused your challenge.
Either way, Legate Lanius attacks, but his Praetorian Guard flee the camp, and we don't have to engage them. I feel bad choosing this option, however, because we never get the opportunity to dismiss our companions. So we've got a Securitron and then potentially 2 other companions helping us, while Legate Lanius is by himself, and that's not really fair. However, instead of pushing our luck, we can successfully talk him down by choosing either of these final 2 options, and Legate Lanius responds the same to both of them. So we'll say, I do not wish to die this day, it is true, but nor do I wish to win through trickery.
You speak with conviction, and more importantly with honor. And we secured a foothold on the dam, easily as you have said. Graham's overconfidence forever branded him with fire. I will not follow his trail of fire into the depths of the Grand Canyon. The Republic shall keep their old world gate this day. I shall return east. When I return, I shall have all the armies of the Legion with me.
And with that, he and his legionaries retreat. The next option is to talk him down using our barter skill. The crux of this argument is that taking the dam and the Mojave will stretch Lanius too thin and simply cost the Legion too much. We start by passing a 55 barter check to say, sure, you could take the West. Holding it is another matter.
I have no need to hold it. Anything the West sends against me shall break against the wall that is the Legion.
And they don't need to send an army. Your supply lines will kill you first.
You think we would march without a means of resupply? We have the fort. We will have the dam. Other communities will fall. And we shall harvest as we move west. We only need move forward.
But there are no communities to support you in the West. You've seen to that.
There are many towns, many slaves, ripe for the taking as the tribes from the East were.
We can fail at this point by saying, look, you haven't thought the economics of this through, all right?
Enough. Your words have done nothing but delay the inevitable. Now, see what my hounds and my blade will bring to you.
In which case we get pushed back into that confrontational dialogue tree. But we can succeed by passing a 75 barter check to say what towns. The Legion destroyed Nipton, poisoned Searchlight, and butchered Nelson.
Wolpes brought the touch of Kaiser to such places. It was necessary to weaken the West, show that the Legion could strike deep into the places where NCR thought it safe. But we do not need those towns. Like Hoover Dam, there is the power within Vegas. We can harness it for our needs.
As Legate, do you really believe that? Or are you taking a chance?
Long ago, when taking Denver, I had to face such a challenge. Many died over many years to claim the city as ours. It was the lines of food and water that nearly broke the Legion's strength, and the lack of tribals near that cursed city. When I felt in that struggle, I felt as I saw the map of the West. The West is a trap. The bear has already been caught in it, and it is dying.
I have faith. Trade helped us survive the Great War. It'll do so again.
But I shall give you the time you need to prepare.
And with that, Legate Lanius retreats. Our final option to talk him down is to pass a speech check to convince him that he's making the same mistakes that the NCR made, and that his defeat is inevitable. We start by passing a 55 speech check to say this battle is decided. That's why I'm here.
So you seek quarter? Terms of surrender? Our roads into NCR are hung with the bodies of those who attempted to negotiate with us. Save your speeches. We will take Hoover Dam and move forward until our feet crush the setting sun beneath them.
Move forward? The Legion spent years trying to take Hoover Dam.
Hoover Dam has never seen the mass strength of the East. Only Legate such as Graham, who deserve the fire Kaisar blessed him with. Now I am here, and make markers of your people as the Legion carves its way west.
And then what of the East?
You speak in circles. What of the East? I am the East, and I will prove it this day.
If you need all the East to crush the West...
The victory here shall be swift. Our forces shall take the dam, secure it, then build a road west on the bodies of the NCR. The East will hold. Once across the Colorado, nothing to rival Hoover Dam remains.
Well, except Vegas.
Vegas will fall.
Really? I hope you're not counting on the Omertas to help you.
I count on no one.
Good, because I stopped the Omertas' plan. Vegas is as strong as ever.
A plan by Vulpes. Treachery is a weapon that one should never rely on. I can only hope that the Omertas died when their treachery was exposed. To have the plan succeed only would have sullied the Legion. It does not matter. Victory shall be ours. It shall be swift, and it will be honest. Purchased with blood.
It's not the strength of the West that will slow you down. It's their weakness.
Your weakness? You seek to thwart me by claiming the Legion is too strong for you?
The NCR's weakness is its size. It will take your entire army to hold the West.
That does not mean we would not succeed.
Eventually. But moving your whole army west means losing the East. You see, Lanius, you can't hold both. And you know it.
The East was a hard-fought campaign. Even now, Kaisar drew too much of the Legion's blood needed there for this. Hoover Dam is but a place. I will not have it be the gravestone of the Legion, whether quickly, or as you describe, slowly, by attrition.
There is victory in wisdom, Legate.
As for wisdom, there is wisdom in your words, woman of the West. Know that I shall return east. I shall not remain there forever. On that day, the strength of the bear shall be tested. If the West is one day filled with ones such as you, perhaps it shall be a worthy fight indeed.
If you feel that war matters that much, perhaps you will see things differently in time.
My coming would have saved you, set your people free in ways they cannot see. War would have tested them, broken the weak with its violence, yet allowing the strong to arise. Violence gave you that strength, awakened you. I can see it upon your face, where 2 bullets left their mark. Perhaps it is unfortunate Vulpes was not here to hear your words. Something tells me you would prove more than his match. Until the day when our armies meet again, envoy of Vegas. I shall wait for you on the battlefield.
And with that, Legate Lanius leads his legionaries in retreat. We can follow him up the hill if we want, but at the top, we just see a big tent. We find a door flap to the Legate's war tent, but we can't interact with it, so this is a dead end. But we've successfully routed the Legion, which means now we can tell Mr. House of our victory. The NCR blow down the gate, and General Lee Oliver, the mastermind of the NCR's current military campaign, walks forward through the smoke.
Caesar on the cross. Been a long time since I've seen the kind of work you've laid down today. A damn long time. And the screams of those Legion bastards as they kick dirt running east like a choir of angels to my ears. Speaking of, that crazy light show over the fort? What the fuck was that? Some kind of thumb of God you'd called down? Amazing. Fucking amazing. Could use 100 of you. Just scatter you over the east like jacks. Give those plum fucks the what for.
I can't take all the credit, but it wasn't really a gamble either.
Gambling? What, you looking to start a game now that the smoke's died down?
I didn't take the dam for you, General. I took it for Vegas.
Vegas? What, the families? Or House? You're talking about House.
Mr. House sends his regards, Oliver. He's expanding.
What the hell are you on about? House? He's just a rumor on the strip. Never leaves his... What is this Brahmin shit? I'm not getting the feeling we're all about to sing Kumbaya here.
We can skip the speeches by attacking and saying, actually, nothing of the sort. We've come to exterminate you.
Figured as much. Come on, you sons of bitches, we're ready.
But we don't have to do much. House's Securitrons vaporize the NCR. If we're quick, we can loot his body, and on his body, we find two unique items, General Oliver's cap and General Oliver's uniform. The cap has no DR and grants only +1 to perception. The uniform, however, is more interesting. It also has no DR, but it's one of the few pieces of armor in the game that grant a bonus to AP. It has +20 to AP and +2 to Charisma, but seeing as how the game is about to end, we never really have an opportunity to use this. It is a handsome outfit, though. The hat has the NCR logo in gold, with 4 gold stars, and his officer's uniform has a handsome olive drab tie and 4 stars on either color. But instead of killing the general, we can try to talk him down. Singing Kumbaya isn't necessary, General, but I do have a paper for you to sign. I have the terms of your surrender right here.
What the hell are you talking about? What is this? The free economic zone of New Vegas? What the hell does that mean? Oh, wait, here we go. Demands NCR's immediate withdrawal. Withdraw? Like fucking hell we're withdrawing. We just held the dam. We didn't do it to let it go. This paper of yours isn't fit to wipe my ass. If you think after all that's happened, I'm going to grab my ankles and take it like the Legion.
General Oliver responds the same way to all of these options, so we'll say, well, if bending over and taking it like the Legion is how you feel comfortable, well, hey, I'm not judging you.
You know I won't surrender the dam, and certainly not to the ghost man of Vegas and his new right hand of the week.
He also has the same response to these options. So we'll say, I already defeated the Legate and the Legion. You won't be much trouble.
We held this place for years. Kicked one Legate out of here so hard Caesar burned him to a crisp. It's our post. We've fought for it. I'll fight for it again today. If you're looking to convince me otherwise, you better have a lot more reasons than you just telling me to go.
We find 3 options here. To barter with him, to bluff our way out of this, or to intimidate him by talking about the dam's technical complexity. To barter with him, we can start by saying, don't worry, General. I have no intention of leaving you empty-handed.
Looking to make a deal, then. All right, let's hear it.
What if we give the NCR some concessions in trade with Vegas and the East?
If you're buying our ear for the moment, Hoover Dam's more than a fistful of caps to my superiors. Vegas is interesting. The East, that'll take too long to build up to generate capital. Of course, since you'd have to guard it during that time, don't know. Could go either way.
To succeed, we have to pass a 100 barter check to say we'd also guarantee protection to the caravans and enforcement of fair trade practices.
Willing to tackle the caravan families. Keeping that bunch in line, well, that's no easy job. In fact, that's such a shitty job, those caravan families will be the one bottle capping you to death inch by inch. And that sounds good to me. Be a nice turnabout from your friend House and all the bottle capping he's been doing to NCR for years. Sounds sweet to me.
The second option is to intimidate him with House's superior knowledge of science, to say we want the dam, but the power it generates can be shared.
You sure got its heart beating in new ways. But that just makes me want all of it, not handouts.
We have to pass a 75 science check to say the reason we need to hold on to it is because it's very technical. Very.
So you're saying without you, Hoover Dam just beats slower and dies? I believe it. I saw it myself this day. You woke it up, true enough. Still, even power from the dam, that's not enough to wash the salt out of the wound here. It only benefits NCR and the Mojave, not the West.
To succeed, we have to pass a 100 science check to say there are technologies in Vegas we may be able to provide to NCR. Not all, but some.
Well, Vegas burns brighter than most cities west of the Divide, and that glitter has its appeal. Not sure that's going to mend fences with folks back west, though. But
He responds the same way to all 3 of these options, so we'll say, As long as that's not a no, then I'd take that down to your superiors.
No. You've given me enough ammo for the Republic. But what one head may like, the other barehead may not. Still, I'm not about to add blood to the mix since you could have done us like the Legion now if you wanted.
Or the final way to resolve this is to bluff our way out of it by passing a 100 speech check to say, the fact you're talking with me says a lot about your willingness to fight.
True. Guess I'm a little too used to seeing Securitrons in Vegas to think they'd turn and be bad news. And I know how bad they can get. Look, House, Vegas, it's pretty. Got you blinded a bit maybe. But NCR's got perks too. Think about it before you sign on with him. And if you say no, keep in mind what that means. NCR may have its problems, but when we're riled, watch out.
The General responds the same way to the bottom 4 options. So we'll say, the NCR can't even hold the Mojave, and now you're threatening me?
I'm not going to throw away the lives of my men just to make a point. And there'll be other days.
In which case he backs down. Or we can say, no, General, you keep it in mind, and our conversation is over.
Well, at least I can talk to you unlike that bastard Caesar and his plate-faced general. It'll do. Guess sometimes you get the bull, other times you get the horns. Still, at least some lives got saved this day.
And with that, General Oliver and the NCR retreat peacefully. But before we leave, a familiar face rolls over to say hi.
You know, I've had thousands of employees in my time. Few met my expectations. Fewer still surpassed them. Your performance has been nothing short of spectacular. If I have need for a specialist of your stripe again, I'll know just where to turn. Back to Vegas, shall we? I really should do something about that monorail with all the new resources at hand. I can make sure it not only runs, but runs on time. Always bothered me, the imprecision. No need to worry about the General, by the way. He'll be held responsible, publicly disgraced. 36.5% probability of suicide, by my estimate. Kimball won't be able to save him. He'll be too busy getting thrown out of office. But less than a 3% chance of suicide, mind you.
Or, if we killed General Lee, House says,
no need to worry about the General's accident, by the way. A mercy, really, sparing him the disgrace of surviving his nation's defeat. President Kimball may long to avenge his friend's death, but he won't be president long enough to do anything about it. Vegas might see a dip in revenue for a few months, half a year. But soon enough, the tourists and their money will be pouring in. Vegas will be a shining jewel in the middle of the desert, an oasis of light, a beacon to show mankind the way to the stars. This is just the start, you see. This is where it all begins.
And with that, we end the game. Now, I'm not going to show you all of the game endings. That would take too much time, plus many of them don't relate to House's ending, and I've already covered some of these in previous videos. So instead, we're going to focus just on the unique endings we get upon siding with Mr. House.
Mr. House's Securitron army took control of Hoover Dam and the Strip, pushing both the Legion and the exhausted NCR out of New Vegas. Mr. House continued to run New Vegas his way, a despotic vision of pre-war glory. The streets were orderly, efficient, cold. New Vegas continued to be the sole place in the wasteland where fortunes were won and lost in the blink of an eye. The courier, fair and kind-hearted to those in the wasteland, ensured that Mr. House would keep New Vegas stable and secure for future generations. Mr. House afforded her every luxury at his disposal in the Lucky 38, both out of gratitude and a quiet pride in his choice of lieutenants.
Or, if we had neutral karma,
the courier, who had a mixed history in the wasteland, kept the status quo at Hoover Dam. Mr. House would keep New Vegas stable, if not free, for generations. Mr. House afforded the courier every luxury at his disposal in the Lucky 38.
Or if we had evil karma,
the courier, cruel and merciless, had ensured that Mr. House would maintain complete control over New Vegas and everyone in it. Mr. House afforded him every luxury at his disposal in the Lucky 38, partly out of gratitude and partly out of fear.
Mr. House showed little interest on the boomers, who eventually began venturing out to Nellis to meet and trade with travelers.
Buried beneath tons of rubble, the Mojave chapter of the Brotherhood of Steel was no more. Those few who were outside the Hidden Valley bunker when it was destroyed settled into new lives, or headed west to find a new chapter to join.
Though she'd seen the writing on the wall, the destruction of the Mojave Brotherhood came far more suddenly than Veronica had expected. The news devastated her. Despite her best efforts to leave her past behind, she found herself compelled to make one final journey to Hidden Valley. There, she paid her last respects to the only family she had ever known.
If we never quite got around to eradicating the Fiend leadership...
The Fiend staged an attack against Camp McCarran during the Second Battle of Hoover Dam. During the NCR's retreat, the Fiends overwhelmed many of the troopers before Mr. House's Securitrons could deal with them.
Or if we only killed 3 of the Fiend leaders instead of all of them...
The Fiends attacked Camp McCarran during the Second Battle of Hoover Dam, but the NCR repulsed the attack with minimal losses. When Mr. House asserted control over Outer Vegas, his Securitrons eradicated the remaining Fiends entirely.
After Mr. House gained control of New Vegas, he sent a Securitron to Good Springs as a token of appreciation for helping the courier. Victor was a mixed blessing, however, as he continually monitored the town for Mr. House.
Cass lived to see Hoover Dam in its old world glory, humming with power the likes of which the Mojave had never seen. Vegas burned brighter than ever. Securitrons filled the streets, and Cass's heart skipped, just a little. Her last words were to the dam, and to herself. We were going full speed ahead, but facing backwards the whole time.
If we never convinced the Kings to ally with the NCR, they get the following ending.
Flush with his victory, Mr. House sent Securitrons into Freeside, thinking to increase his control over the area. When fighting broke out, the Kings fought valiantly, but were no match for the armored killing machines, and were wiped out to the last man.
But if we did convince the Kings to ally with the NCR, they get the following ending.
Accusing the Kings of lying with a foreign invader for their newfound ties to the NCR, Mr. House punished them by ordering their forced removal. The Kings, defiant to the end, were destroyed to the last man by House's Securitrons.
After their suicidal last stand at Hoover Dam, the Great Khan ceased to exist as a tribe. The few surviving members dispersed, joining up with other tribes and gangs across the Mojave, and quickly forgot their heritage.
If we completed Boone's personal quest by convincing him to let go of his bitterness over what happened at Bitter Springs, he gets the following ending.
Though NCR was withdrawing from the region, Boone remained in New Vegas, finding work as a security guard and caravan scout along the highways. While he might have preferred rejoining his old unit, Boone couldn't bring himself to abandon the city where he'd met his wife.
But if we convince Boone that bitterness makes him stronger, and to cling to his vengeance, he gets the following ending.
No longer held in check by his conscience, Boone found lucrative work as a mercenary and assassin. No job was too violent, no target too innocent. As long as the caps were good, Boone would take the job.
If we never got rid of the Powder Ganger leadership, they get the following ending.
The NCR, battered by the loss of the dam, were unable to devote any troops to retaking the correctional facility from the Powder Gangers. As a result, Powder Ganger raids on caravans became an unfortunate fact of life in the Mojave for years to come.
And with that, we beat Fala New Vegas, and we shape the history of the Mojave in House's favor forever. But this is not the end.
We've just explored only one of 4 possible ways to beat the game. In our next episode, we will go back in time to the moment just after we discovered Benny at the Tops Casino, and instead of siding with House, we will choose to side with either the NCR, the Legion, or Yes Man. If you want to make sure you don't miss that series, be sure to subscribe and to click that bell notification button. I'm not going to dive right into it. Instead, I'm going to take a bit of a break, publish other content, and capture footage from my next DLC series. So hang tight. We'll get back to the full story of Fallout New Vegas in time. So what are your thoughts on siding with Mr. House? Were you surprised by anything if you hadn't seen this story in your gameplay before? I'd love to read your thoughts in the comments section below. I also have new emojis for sponsors. YouTube sponsors can use these emojis in the chat during my live show, so if interested, click that blue sponsorship button to learn more. I've got a brand new shirt in the shop, Protect the People at a Minute's Notice. You can find the shirt in a wide array of colors and in a variety of both men's and women's sizes. I have the design on a bunch of other products as well, so if interested, you can find a link to my shop in the description below, or you can click here. If you like what I do and you want to support me in a more personal way, consider becoming a sponsor on YouTube or a patron on Patreon. But more than anything, I'm just so glad you're here watching this video with me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you very soon with a brand new video.